Ladies and gentlemen, Africa has always stood by Kenya as we seek integration and growth. And we, in return, will always stand by Africa, which is now the center of our nation's economic policy. As I stated in my inauguration earlier this year, and again when I addressed the African Union in my maiden speech, Kenya's national interest is anchored on regional and continental integration. This year, the African Union, like Kenya, is celebrating its 50th anniversary. In 1963, when our pioneers established the OAU, their vision was to realize political, social, and economic integration as a means of achieving prosperity, peace, and growth. Considerable progress has been made towards regional integration, but a lot still remains to be done. In Eastern Africa, the EAC partner states have committed to a customs union, achieving a monetary union, and eventually our aim is to achieve a political federation. Concurrently with the EAC, in partnership with the Common Market for East and Southern Africa, COMESA, and the Southern African Development Community, SADC, we are negotiating a tripartite free trade area. The high growth rate that Africa has attained was spurred by prudent macroeconomic policies adopted by a large number of African states. The relative peace and security that prevails on most of the continent, the regional integration that engenders growing inter-Africa trade and buoyant commodity prices. In order to sustain and enhance this momentum, it is absolutely necessary to accelerate the implementation of continental integration agenda, especially as relates to infrastructure development, food security, and the free movement of peoples, goods, and services. To further deepen our commitment to the continent, today I announce 5 initiatives on our regional and continental agenda. First, Kenya will contribute to a brigade to be part of the rapid response mechanism as part of the Africa Peace and Security Architecture agreed during the last assembly of AU heads of state and government. Second, Kenya will champion with our African brothers and sisters the free movement of persons on the continent. Today, we announce that any African passport will obtain a visa on arrival in Kenya based on the principle of reciprocity. Under these arrangements, any African visitor may stay for up to 6 months. The only exception to this rule will be when regional security could be compromised. Third, to sustain and enhance the momentum we in Africa have experienced in the past decade, deeper investment in intra-African trade, and in this regard, Kenya is ready to partner with our sisterly countries in the southern, central, western, and northern regions to fast-track the implementation of the recently adopted Continental Free Trade Area. Kenya has offered to provide technical support to this particular process. Fourth, Kenya is ready to champion the fast-tracking of the implementation of the African Infrastructure Program within the East African region. And fifth, Kenya offers to work with fellow African countries to steer the implementation of an integrated air transport, an African free sky policy in line with the Yamoussoukro decision. We believe these measures are important to add impetus to Africa's growth efforts and to show our commitment to our continent. Let me also acknowledge that day by day, Africa is taking greater responsibility for security on the continent. Africa's peace-building efforts in the Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Somalia are testimony to a new approach that will serve our continent well. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as Africa grows, so Kenya grows. We are taking radical steps to help our country grow faster. My government is committed to pursuing a new brand of politics. We are committed to fostering an open, tolerant, and hard-working Kenya with modern institutions and adhering to good governance. To do this, all leaders must be ready to be held accountable for their actions. It is the responsibility of Kenyans to scrutinize their leaders and question their performance. My government, in collaboration with Kenyans, will get tough with those who use positions of power to acquire ill-gotten wealth. Therefore, the now fully constituted Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission must utilize its constitutionally given mandate to investigate and bring to book all those involved in corruption. In the meantime, I urge all Kenyans of goodwill not to give any bribes or otherwise participate in corrupt activities. Ladies and gentlemen, in building our nation and taking it to the next level of development from where we are today, I cannot forget to appreciate the support that we have gotten from our development partners. We are particularly grateful for the support that has gone into building our infrastructure that is critical in enhancing the competitiveness of our economy. We do believe that we have more to cooperate with our international friends for the betterment not of Kenya alone, but the world as a whole. However, we have a message for them. It is important to recognize that Africa has come of age. Africa seeks constructive partnerships. We will embrace partnerships based on mutual respect and win-win scenarios. We will not accept partnerships that do not recognize we also have the intellectual capacity to engage on equal terms. Africa has a voice, and 50 years after independence, Africa demands that its voice must be heard. In conclusion, I believe that Kenya is on the verge of becoming a middle-income country with high standards of living as laid out in our Vision 2030. To achieve this desired objective, it is critical that political, religious, and business leaders exercise responsible leadership, and for all of us to respect the rule of law and work hard for the benefit of our country. I want to give an unequivocal commitment to the protection of lives and property of all Kenyans, to the economic prosperity for all of us, to inclusivity and equitable growth that leaves no one behind, and to total adherence to the rule of law. And you on your part, Kenyans, I also expect you to remain united and to adhere to good governance as the key pillars on which to build a strong, prosperous and equitable Kenya. The culture ambayo tumezoea, mali ya umma lazima iishe kutoka sasa. Hakuna mali ya umma, ni mali yetu ya Wakenya, tuitumie vizuri. Our forefathers succeeded in the struggle for our freedom because they were united, and above all, they were men and women of integrity. They believed in sharing equally even one grain of maize, all that was available. Therefore, as we celebrate 50 years of independence, let us each make a personal choice to a just, cohesive, and caring nation. That is what our forefathers fought for. That is what we owe them. This is what we owe the future generations and ourselves. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to once again thank you very kindly for agreeing to join us on this historic and momentous day for us. Your presence here has made this day great, and we shall remember for a very long time to come. Tuwapigieni wageni wetu makofi tafadhalini, wametuheshimu sana kwa kuja na kuwa pamoja nasi siku ya leo. Wenzangu, kwa sababu ya masaa, mimi sitaki niwachokeshe na mengi, isipokuwa niwaambie ya kwamba tukiwa siku ya leo tuwasherehekea